Namaste, hola, konnichiwa, ni hao, and hello. Welcome to another energetic and informative session of the Bcamp podcast, where we make Web3 insight easy for you with industry leaders. Today, we have an apex predator who has shown he can keep packing a blockchain punch from being an ex-consensus team member to joining the mighty Polygon and working on his own project, Crestal. That's right, baby, the creme de la creme of a work in progress. Welcome, Maroon. And please introduce yourself properly to us and tell us a little bit about the man with the blockchain punch before we jump into the fire questions.
Thanks, man. That's a very exciting announcement. I haven't got one of this like in a while. Makes me feel good about my work. Happy to be here. This is Marouen. I am originally from Tunisia, so African dream. I left, did my engineering school in France. Then I got a little bit of work done in the US. The boring old tech work. And then a couple of years ago, I moved into crypto and blockchain, working with companies like Consensus and Polygon. Obviously, I've learned a lot from those big teams, and then I feel right now I have my own vision to realize. And so for the last few months, we've been assembling the Crestal team, and then we're building this roadmap of the future platform of work, the future platform of project launching, the future platform of businesses and application launching by using everything that blockchain has to offer and everything that AI has to offer. Very excited to be talking about this a little bit today.
Thank you very much. And from what Maroon has mentioned, oh, I need to ensure that my pronunciation is correct. From what Maroon, yeah, Maroon has mentioned.
We did a community competition this week with our Crestal community, which we called it Say My Name. And the game was like to get the three best pronunciation of my name and the three worst pronunciation of my name. And those both actually won prizes. I've been traveling the world, working with different people. I've seen my name pronounced many, many ways. But yeah, feel free to pronounce it any way you like.
Thank you very much. And today, the first question that I'm going to be opening with for you is, where do you see the current trend of Web3 going now that some Web2 financial institutions have started implementing blockchain?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we had different stages in life of Web3 and technology. The first age where probably like the last couple of years was mostly saying, hey, we have some processes we do in traditional finance and traditional enterprise, and we can make them a bit more efficient. We can make them a bit more streamlined in using by using blockchain technology, which was great. And then actually for the Web3 native use cases, some interesting cases started popping up. So that probably the second age where we saw, for example, NFTs, true ownership of assets, DeFi booming, etc., and saying, well, this is something that has nothing to do with the traditional world. These are new primitive. These are new use cases that we are enabling through blockchain. And the third age that we're entering today is this AIs, and then how they can do much more than just answering a question or doing a search online. And so now we are experimenting a lot of like, okay, if we give AI some tools, so we give AI, for example, a wallet that can transact on chain. We give AI a platform such as Twitter or Forecaster where it can tweet and have a voice. If we give AI some Web3 capability to be able to interact with all the apps out there and all of the building components, what kind of world can we build? And so, yeah, there is an evolution, I think, and we came a long way from tracking, what was the first initial enterprise blockchain, like tracking shipment authenticity, so you can track like a parcel going from one place to the other using blockchain. That was nice and fun, and I think we did a lot of experiments on that. But now the boundaries are much, much more further, and then the stakes are higher of what blockchain can enable.
Thank you. And that sounds like we're working towards the utopia that all the tech gurus and people who love innovation are working towards. So, the second question I have is, the industry cries a lot about having a lack of talented devs, especially in the Web3 industry and in their organization. And currently, you mentioned now that Cristal is a project where you're recently gathering team members for it. So, from chats with your industry peers and trailblazers alike, would they be open to development as a service or another alternative you're aware of? because of all the talent that you have to churn out this great product quickly to market, but there's not enough people who actually know the blockchain implementation of how to implement it correctly within your project?
This is a complex question. It sounds simple, so it sounds like a yes or no question, but it's a complex question, right? So I think the main thing is that yes, people were struggling a little bit with finding the right talent for their projects to launch. There was obviously a lot of businesses that popped up that saying, yeah, we can provide you with the talent, we can train developers and so on, and provide that to you. This has faced some challenges for two particular reasons. The very first reason is trust. Like blockchain is a very kind of trustless industry where you want to be able to build apps that humans don't interfere with. And so there is a lot of trust that is placed on the people who are coding the different pieces. And to be honest, like if you have a developer building a piece of your technology, yes, you can audit and so on, but then you have to trust the people you're working with. Also trust on the intellectual property because it's a highly innovative space. And so if I share with you my special idea that I'm planning to launch in 3 months as a third party, do I trust that you're not going to go and copy it and launch it for me? So that's the first thing. The second thing is that yes, blockchain is technology, but also from design principle, from belief system, from philosophy is a little bit different than traditional Web2 applications. And so we've seen, for example, even in our team, when we're trying to hire some talented front-end, back-end engineers, I mean, they're great. They can do, app development quite well. But if they're not crypto natives, if they don't know how to interact with the DeFi protocol, if they haven't used it themselves, if they haven't played around with this and that tool, they soon hit some limit and they will not be contributing more than just code to the project. Because especially in blockchain projects, the teams are not very big. They are 10, 15 people. And so you want everybody to be on the same wavelength, everybody thinking the same way. And so it's beyond, do you know JavaScript and other languages? It's more about like, can you visualize it? Do you understand what you're trying to achieve as a goal, as an industry? And so for these two things, it makes it a little bit harder to find good outsourcing talent or transient talent, rather, because these agencies, usually you hire them for 3 months or 2 months, they come and go, so they don't get the chance to absorb your project, what it's about, what are you trying to do, etc. It makes them a little bit limited. Quality is, of course, one thing that is hard to measure, but that's a classic problem. There is nothing special about it. So yeah, there is demand for development tools, but also there is some requirements, higher requirements for the good service. The second part is that the blockchain people, they are very creative, experimental, innovative. And so today, if you go to some teams and everybody's excited about how OpenAI or Claude can help you writing code and whether that code is good quality or not, but it's amazing how fast it builds it and so on. And so if you go to them with an alternative that, hey, I'm on to help you, but I'm not using any cool AI stuff. I'm just using talented dev in a particular team. You'll be like, okay, that's good, but it's not as cool as building my project with AI because I've seen this demo, I've seen that thing that says AI can do it in half a second. So that's also like a big perception that service companies are also struggling through. It's like, crypto people are a little bit crazy. They expect magic, and sometimes, of course, it's not possible. AI gives you more problem than it does solutions.
And even for me to ask this question, I had a recent chat with one of my developer amigos, and he's very talented Web2 developer. But he simply, I think he explained it the best way as to why he'd rather stick for now to Web2, which was that blockchain has a bit of complexity to it. And as you just mentioned in some of the things that you said now, it needs time to sit down with that specific protocol or that decentralized project and to actually absorb the whole vision of what it is that it's trying to achieve. So I think over time we will progress into having people actually understand that this specific protocol or project wants to achieve this goal. And
I think, sorry, just on that point, I would love, of course, for more developers to come and work in the blockchain space. That's something we absolutely need. But then, rather than actually jumping straight into projects, blockchain has something that I haven't seen much of in Web 2 days, which is hackathons. Like almost in every couple of months or every couple of weeks, you'll have like a city-specific hackathon, ETH Global. We just finished the Bangkok one. I'm sure there is one happening. I think Taipei Blockchain Week in Taiwan. There will be one happening in Denver. There is one happening, I think they're taking about one in Africa. There is a lot of these ones, and I've been participating in one of the hackathons recently. It's such a great opportunity that anybody can raise their hands, like I want to participate. You register, it's free of charge. You go in. You're just dedicating 2 days, 3 days of your time. You will have a lot of technology providers around to ask a question. There's a lot of mentors. If you have a team, you can hack together. If you're solo, you can go and try to find a team on the spot. And that is like the best opportunity for you to come and say, well, okay, I know front end, but I need to just get my teeth sharpened on some tech. And that's something you don't have in Web 2. Like, there is no Salesforce hackathon or a Microsoft hackathon. It's a bit rarer. And so at least it's a welcoming environment in blockchain. And it's probably the first step for anybody who wants to taste what it's like. They should go and do that. It doesn't take much. It just takes them like a weekend of their day, of their time, and then they can do that 2 or 3 times, and they get clear ideas like what kind of tech is involved, what kind of use cases are being built, how do other developers think, and what do judges like to see, etc., etc.
And I can actually confirm your statement has validity because I myself am slowly transitioning into, I'm looking for a developer relations role. So I've seen that just a 2 week or even 4 week hackathon. Obviously, the blockchain stuff is still a bit complicated, but you learn as you learn as you go, and it's actually quite helpful because even some of my team members are already well experienced Web 2 devs that are decent in the space. But it's helped to understand how the blockchain industry and implementing it in the project actually goes. And the next question is similar to the first one, since Web2 institutions have started to adopt blockchain technology, how does this help the Web3 ecosystem from your viewpoint?
If you asked me this question like a couple of years ago, I'd be all excited about it. Right now, I don't see it. I don't see it as helping so much. I think there is a lot of actually house cleaning we have to do ourselves in terms of like finding some unique Web3 use cases that are needed. Like rather than going to solve institutions' problems, find like world problems you can solve with Web3 technology that nobody else is solving. So I think that's much higher value than going and do an incremental improvement on something that already works. Like if FedEx does their shipping okay and they are trusted, don't go and improve on that. It's a little bit of an uphill battle. If Facebook is a good social media and people are using it, don't try to shift people away from it. But then try maybe to find some novel experiments, some novel things that can get people a value that they don't get elsewhere. For example, there's a lot of situations of unbanked, of people who cannot actually generate yield or revenue on their application, on their money. Give them maybe easy tools to use. I think DeFi has been a bit complicated over the last couple of years, and so now maybe it's the time to build like some easy to use tools for you to get a little bit return on your money, escape maybe specific inflation issues within particular nations and countries, do cross-border payments using stable coins, create a little bit of like economy where you reward people for their work and pay them borderlessly. So these things are things that most Web2 companies cannot do. And so that will be the thing that I think we have to prove ourselves on first, get some successful use cases there. And then that will get you the interest of the institutions. They'll be like, okay, well, it's interesting how you solved that case with this technology. Can I apply it to my own industry? Can I maybe invest in you? Can I inject some funds through your protocol that you built? So that's the approach. And this is perhaps related to my own personal experience because we've done work with some good Web2 institutions to try to implement blockchain with them, whether that's with Polygon or Consensus. But you can see that the pace of innovation and the willingness to try new things has nothing to do with what you can achieve on a fully Web3 ecosystem. And people have to be motivated. I cannot go and assemble a team, hire engineers, and build a protocol where I'm telling them you're going to go work with a bank and they're going to take 6 months to make a smallest decision. That same team will leave me and they will go and work on an exciting new protocol like a gamification or a new use case. So yeah, that's the dynamics of where it is today. And that's my strongest belief. That's why, at least for Crestal, whatever we're building it for a world that is a new world, not for improving an existing banking ecosystem or improving an existing supply chain ecosystem.
Those were indeed some golden nuggets. And before I even forget, because the conversation gets more interesting and interesting with each question, is there a social media platform where they can follow your project? Maybe we can get a link afterwards so that we can share it to build some traction around the project.
Absolutely. So everything about my project is happening on, let's say, Twitter. So Crestal Network, that's the handle. I think the techie announcement and everything will be happening on that channel. If you want a bit more spicy takes and a bit more interesting thoughts, follow my personal account. So that's Marouen19. You can find it. And once you are there, you will find places where you can interact with the rest of the community. So we have a good, vibrant Telegram channel with a lot of community people from Crestal. We have a Discord channel as well that you can join. And we have some games, we have some fun, we have some contests, we have some competitions. Everybody's welcome to try to use those to learn something new.
Thank you. And thank you for the community plug, because Web3 is indeed community focused compared to some of the secrecy around Web2 in my viewpoint. And this comes back once again to the project that you're working on. So let's say somebody like me, and it's a question of interest, and for those who are looking to transition into any of the Web3 projects or the industry itself, who might be interested working with you on your project, Crestal, what kind of talent makes Crestal thrive in the Web3 ecosystem? You already mentioned they need to be passionate already on their own, but what kind of talent would make Crestal thrive even more in the Web3 ecosystem?
Absolutely. I think Cristal has a big vision of what we want to achieve, which is essentially a platform where you can find building blocks for your ideas, deploy those building blocks, monitor the quality of how they're operating, and pay for them fairly as well. And so it's a framework. It's a framework for deploying things, building things, and it gets a little bit complicated. I admit that a few times. And so one of the key talents that we're looking for is the ability to take those big ideas and translate them into something practical. And then you have different audiences, of course, in blockchain. You have community members who are just looking for something exciting and fun, but easy to understand. You have hardcore developers. These will require like detailed documentation, so they have a lot of questions. There is investors who are more trying to question the value and the use case, whether this is something useful or not. And so the ability to, that's what I spend most of my time on, because I'm one of the co-founders, the two co-founders that is probably less technical. And so I'm not involved in coding every day, but I'm involved in like trying to take whatever the engineers are building and designing and making that digestible for everybody so they understand why they should come to Crestal and use it. And I think that's probably where we will be looking for the biggest talent, which is somebody who can bridge these super duper techie ideas and capabilities we have into useful things that people understand and would like to interact with and use.
Thank you. Thank you for the tips. And it's something I've also seen from most of our Bcamp developer boot camps we hold over time, which is exactly what you just mentioned now. Taking something extremely technical and breaking it down for the end user. Because when we come to think of it, most people are still not technically astute. So they actually need you to break it down for them to understand that okay, I might be talking about DAOs and DeFi and uncollateralized lending. So this is what it actually means when it comes to your side. And then
Yeah,
that's it. They're
yeah.
like, oh, it's that easy. And once again, the next question I have is, what was the inspiration behind Cristal? You mentioned some snippets of the inspiration behind it, but what is the true goal, the love, that said, I want to do Cristal?
Yeah, I think it evolved, of course, as a founder, as a startup, your ideas evolve over time. So initially, what inspired us is we wanted to create an open but trusted ecosystem where anybody can deliver a service to anybody else and be fairly rewarded based on how well they perform. Because there is a lot of actually promises, and we can just narrow it to the Web3 space, but you can expand it to anything else. Like there is a lot of usually marketing involved, promises of like, I can do this, I can do that. And the big players always keep on winning because they have that reputation, and the small players are a bit hard for them to penetrate new market. And we started by actually thinking we should create like a system where performance is rewarded. And so the only thing that matters is how well you perform on a particular task, on a particular technology, on a particular service, and then have a way for us to monitor your performance, put it out there to say, listen, for the best, Web3 infrastructure, or for the best KOL, or for the best liquidity provider, or for the best AI agent designer technology, these are the metrics you should look for. And then if you, as a provider, as an innovator, you can come and prove that you are better on those metrics than all of the marketing hype that the bigger players are having, you'll be able to get business. You'll be able to get things deployed. And then for the users as well, is for a way for them to find out what is the best thing that works for their use case beyond the just bombarded by marketing. So that was the initial thing. Is like, can we make decisions data driven? Can we make payments on work highly tied into your performance and how you do? We started with that, and over, of course, the last couple of months, there was a lot of development in terms of AI space and whatnot. And so we said we see a world where AI will do most of the work or take most of the decisions on behalf of people when they are maybe starting a business or building a project or doing this or that activity. And so we believe that Crestal could be that perfect platform that is a place for AI to come and get the pieces that it needs to do to achieve something. So I'll take an example. Like today, for example, you have ChatGPT as an AI, and okay, all it does is just like you talk to it and it talks to you back, gives you some intel and answer. But then imagine you are a robotic company and you have a way for that ChatGPT to go and get a hand and to get a leg that is like a wheel and to get a wing. And so this AI starts getting capabilities that are beyond just answering and thinking, right? It can do stuff in the real physical world. We believe that we can do the same thing with Crestal for the digital world. Can we build a platform where any AI doing something can decide what is the best wallet tool, what is the best marketing service, what is the best payment system, what is the best blockchain component that I can assemble together to achieve a goal? And have the ability for that AI to not only decide based on data. I think AI uses a lot of data to decide, but then also to monitor that AI, because you don't want it to go crazy without governance. It's like, okay, I have this AI that is trying to run an NFT project for me, and it has found all the pieces, and it's costing me $1,000 per month. Is it actually doing a good job? So Crestal should be able to monitor that and give you that assurance. So that's the vision, and who knows? Maybe tomorrow there'll be a different vision. But that's how we evolved. We evolved from a place where everybody can transact and do job and be rewarded based on how well they do, to actually a platform where anything, even actually non-human, even AI, can come and find the modules that it needs to achieve a bigger task, to do a bigger job.
Thank you. And to the people that will be watching this, I feel that this is definitely a project that needs to be checked out. And as Maroon mentioned, he has a beautiful voice at the background that is also agreeing to the project. And that's beautiful. And that is also agreeing to the project. And he said that he would appreciate the input and just feedback on how the project can be improved as a community. Now, I would have loved to finish off with the rest of the questions, but I have 1 more minute left with you. So I'm going to ask you the last question, which is, especially now, building this from scratch. This is a baby, having it on intermediate level, looking to take it to professional. And one of the challenges you mentioned was literally the talent to build the vision as it is stated for its purpose. What challenges keep you up at night with Cristal? That's the last question that I'm leaving you.
It's really how to assemble the perfect team that makes this baby come to life. And of course, I'm answering your question specifically looking at the talent. There's a lot of things that keep me up at night. Like, for example, do we have enough money? Do we have the right problem to solve? Do we have the right community movement? But I think it all comes down to how well your team is, because everything else is capped. But what is not capped is the human talent. So if you have really talented people who understand what you're doing, you're going to succeed. So that's what I'm looking for most of the time.
And to anybody who heard that, whenever those positions do open up on Cristal, do be sure to throw in your Web 2 and Web 3 CV so that the perfect team can be assembled and the vision is achieved as stated. So I just want to say thank you, Maroon, and also to the Polygon team for borrowing you to us for these couple of minutes. But I also want to thank the Cristal team for allowing you to do this with us. And please, guys, do be sure to check out their work. It's Cristal Network on Twitter and Maroon19 on his personal profile so that you can see what it is that wants to be achieved throughout this awesome Web3 industry. Thank you very much, Maroon, for coming on, and have a safe and blessed holiday with your loved ones.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Appreciate the time.